Good evening, everyone. I'm Fanny. It's my pleasure to be here this evening. But before we start, I'm going to disappoint you first. Actually, I don't have a secret formula about successful application to share with you. If there's indeed one, I think it's keep trying. So today is more kind of my personal sharing of my application experience, both as the role of principal investigator and co-investigator. But let's start with some figures to keep you positive, right? So if we look at the grants being approved in over the past few years, so this is about FDS only, right? So if you look at the acceptance rate, actually it keeps increasing steadily. So this implies either that getting grants becomes easier, or our colleagues have prepared proposals with high quality. And I believe that should be the later one, right? So then how to prepare a proposal with high quality? Based on my successful and also failure application experience, and I try to summarize 6 T's that I think which are crucial in preparing the funding proposals. The first T, the first T is talk. So I urge you to attend talks and sharing from RGC. All you guys are doing the right thing today, right? So I think it's very important that you are well familiar with the requirements and the assessment criteria before the application. Well, I wasn't required by RGC to saying that, but I just found that all the key points that I'm going to share today actually have been highlighted by RGC over the past sharing sessions, and today I'll just illustrate with my own experience in these applications, right? Actually, I was struggling whether I should include this T here because it looks so common sense. But when I actually reading a document from RGC's sharing recently, and I found that actually there are some proposals that actually not being sent out for review because that the applicants, they don't follow the guidelines in completing the application form. So I hope that you are all familiar with the guidelines and the requirements and don't make these low-level mistakes, right, in the application. The second T I think important is the topic. So I think finding an interesting and important topic which is kind of halfway to success. As human beings, we try to seek consistency in most contexts, right? So I believe if the reviewers find your topic which is important and interesting, it's more likely they will try to find supporting clues when they're reading your proposal. And similarly, if they find that your topic are unimportant or they are not quite interested in, I believe, again, they will find evidence to support their rejection. So I think it's very important to find something that's important, interesting, contemporary, at least interesting to yourself because you're going to execute after you get the grant, right? So these are 4 of the proposals that we have submitted before and which got successfully funded. So if you look at them, actually all are focused on some contemporary issues to the Hong Kong society, and which I believe they are important, right? For example, like we look at product placement, which is my main research area, and it's regulatory issues, or we look at the co-appearance in product placement, right? So actually, product placement we see quite controversial debates in the society, right? I know, I bet you know what is product placement, right? 植入式廣告, right? So actually, the government has launched an open consultation before. So I believe that's important to the society. And also we have other projects looking at public relations, but in the digital context, putting in a digital context, right? And as the world emphasize more and more about sustainability and sustainable business, so we have another project looking at product carbon footprint, right? So I think it's very important to find some interesting topics and contemporary, looking at the contemporary issue to the society. So if you read, here are some of the reviewers' comments. So if you look at the comments, it seems that most or almost all reviewers, they will start with commenting about the topic, right? So I believe if they find the topic which is important, they're more likely to be fun or interesting, or something that got impact, either theoretical impact or practical impact here, right? And of course, it would be good if you're doing something that's contemporary and timely to the Hong Kong society, right? The third important thing, I think, is about theoretical vigor. So I think theoretical vigor is I would say it's the most differentiating factor in deciding whether a project will be got fund or not. So I'll be going to spend a little bit more time on this. So I think this theoretical vigor starts with an original and innovative idea, but this new, I don't think it need to be groundbreaking new, right? So it could range from, say, incremental new to radical new, something radical new, right? So how can we have something new? I mean, there are different ways that you could add new elements to your proposal. So it could be you applying existing theory to look at a new context, or you adding new variables to test in the existing models, or you may use different methods or new measurement scales to collect your data, or ultimately the new conceptualizations, finding new concepts, new relationships, or new theories of existing phenomena, right? So what I'm trying to say is that you got to show reviewers that there is something new about your proposal that give them confidence to give you the grounds, right? And of course, to have something new, you got to understand your field, or at least the area that you're looking at very well. I think the original or innovative idea is not enough. So you also have to develop an overarching framework and tell the story coherently. So actually, this is my taking one of my failure case as an example. So this is a project proposal that I submitted years ago, and it wasn't funded, right? So basically, the reviewers actually found the topic very interesting. They found it important, and all the hypotheses are well formulated and articulated. But the problem is that they found there's lack of an overarching framework exactly. So I think it's very important, instead of propose the hypothesis as some kind of fragmented pieces, you got to find the linkages between the hypothesis and try to frame it under an umbrella of relevant theories and develop it under a framework here. So I think the theoretical rigor is particularly important because ultimately we are aiming to send our research outputs to some journals, and the journal editors, they won't lower their standards because it's coming from the self-financed institutes, but instead they may even set a higher bar for us. So I think in this proposal, you got to strengthen the theoretical rigor and give the reviewers confidence that it got to lead to some good research outputs. The fourth important thing, I think, is about triangulation. So try to show that you have include data from different sources for triangulation. I myself have submitted several papers to journals, and I also as a reviewer for a few journals. And I find the field increasingly is less forgiving about single study research. And you will see that actually the limitations of using a single study frequently becomes the ground to reject a paper nowadays. So try to include multiple studies by manipulating or testing additional variables in your study, or you may try to include different methods to examine the same issue here. I think if you can demonstrate the same effect with different data from different sources or using different methods or different analysis, it will highly increase the research impact. And of course, this also help you to justify the amount of funding or research duration that you propose for. Otherwise, you will see reviewers may be asking you why you need 24 months to complete a single qualitative research, or you need the amount of money for just doing 2 laboratory experiments, right? But at the upper hand, you see that reviewers that they appreciate multiple methods and data from different sources. The next I think, have been, the next important T, I think, have been highlighted with the earlier speaker about the teamwork. So I think there's an increasing trend about cross-disciplinary and interdisciplinary work, right? So I think reviewers more and more would value about collaborations and seeing research expertise from different fields in the research team. So try to find some collaborators, right? And of course, with the relevant expertise. If you look at most of the these grant projects, actually you could see most are collaborative work. And myself, as an example, all my proposal got funded, got collaborators actually. Because part of the assessment would be evaluating the capability of the research team. So the reviewers, they would actually look at the track record of each investigator in your research team. For example, here they say researchers got a good track record of already well known in their field, and they are able to complete the project, right? So you got to give reviewers confidence that you could finish the project if we really get the grant here. But of course, don't just include collaborators for the sake of collaboration. So actually, you will see a reviewer also comment about the fit of the research team, right? So here, I'm saying that the fit for the co-I seems not so strong, right? So, so try to include collaborators and show reviewers that you could leverage of each other's expertise, and the whole is going to be bigger than the sum of parts. The last T I find important is about teaching relief. So make sure that you budget in teaching relief cost. It looks common sense, but I learned this from my painful experience actually. So unlike the UGC institutions, they have all kinds of motivations for faculty getting the grants, including cost reduction from schools or departments. But as self-financed institutes, we don't, right? So if you don't want to lock yourself in the office and work diligently over the summer, make sure that you budget in the teaching relief. And I know that RGC has been very linear about this, considering the circumstances of the self-financing sector. So make sure that you remember to budget in the teaching relief, right? So I think these are what I experienced and learned in the funding application, and I hope that you find something relevant to you, or maybe not, right? So, and lastly, I wish you all success in the coming funding applications. Thank you.